Now, the last core value is credibility. Aiden was explaining a topic to his classmates during a group discussion, and he spoke very confidently, but then someone asked him a question, say, "How do you know that?" Aiden froze, and he didn't have a good answer. He realized he couldn't immediately recall where the information came from. I had a meeting with my doctor, and my doctor said something, and I said, I disagree, because I had done some research on a particular topic, and I knew that one of their options might be to suggest doing something, and I said, I disagree. But then all of a sudden I realized I couldn't remember all of the sources I got my information from. And so here's this expert who has been working in their field for decades saying, well, how do you know that? And I had to tell him, I don't remember the exact source. However, the thing that I did not like about what I read was XYZ. And they said, okay, well, I've heard that, but I disagree with those studies because. Now, the studies that I had read and the information and the interviews that I had seen were all important and they were all verifiable. But at that moment, I couldn't pull that information back in. And so just like Aiden, he couldn't pull that in. So he's challenged. And later that day, his teacher gave him some feedback. He said, you know, your idea was interesting, but your credibility is lacking because you didn't show your sources. Aiden goes home that night and he dives into his textbook and he dives into some other things online and he pulls back out some information. And then the next day, he is confronted with what occurred, and not in a negative way, but you know, somebody asked him about what happened, and he said, hey, I found this in our textbook, and I found this article, which clearly explains everything right here. So now he's got two verifiable sources, and the room just calmed right down. Nobody was challenging him on anything. The discussion moved forward from where it had been yesterday, and a few days later, a friend of his even asked him a question. He said, hey, I heard this rumor. And Aiden said, you know, I haven't checked into that yet. And that's where it stopped. Nobody challenged Aiden's intelligence. Nobody challenged his credibility because he said, I hadn't heard that. I would want to check into that first. So now he's stating he's willing to check, and people look at him like, oh, well, if Aiden doesn't know, but he's going to come back and give me the right answer or give me a better answer. So his credibility didn't come from sounding sure.